and welcome to Valuechain News. I am Naomi Oleribe. First, the headlines. FEC okays NNPC ECOWAS Pact on Nigeria-Morocco gas projects. Don't borrow 4 trillion naira for subsidy. Sell part of NNPC. Stakeholders urge federal government. Nigerian Navy will strengthen maritime security architecture. JAMO. And now, the news in detail. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved a memo for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited to execute a memorandum of understanding with ECOWAS for the construction of the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline (NMGP) project. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Temipre Silva announced this on Wednesday while briefing State House reporters after the Federal Cabinet meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo at the council chambers of the presidential villa in Abuja. He said the gas line would take gas to 15 West African countries and to Morocco, and through Morocco to Spain and to Europe. For the second memo, the minister said the council also approved the construction of a switchgear room, power distribution cable and equipment for the Nigerian oil and gas park in Ogbehia, Bayelsa State, totaling 3.8 billion naira. He added that the park is to support local manufacturing of components for the oil and gas industry. The federal government has been advised not to borrow 4 trillion naira to pay for fuel subsidy, which will escalate Nigeria's already huge debt profile and further squeeze the country financially. This is even as the country has lost up to 22.68 trillion naira in foreign exchange earnings as a result of the current crude swap regime in the last 18 months. The National Assembly had in April approved a review of the 2022 budget, including the payment of 4 trillion naira as subsidy for premium motor spirit (PMS), also known as petrol. Stakeholders at the Global Initiative for Fiscal Transparency Development Dialogue on the Extractive Industries yesterday in Abuja noted that unless drastic measures were taken, the country would be plunged into a far worse debt crisis than now. International development consultant Professor Ken Ife, in his presentation titled "Enhancing Nigeria's Revenues Through Fiscal Reforms," said the federal government can adopt the Saudi Aramco model to raise funds for the country rather than resorting to fresh debt. Saudi Arabia needed $25 billion, and rather than borrow from IMF or World Bank, it opted for valuation of state-owned Saudi Aramco. On getting a valuation of well over $1 trillion, it sold 5% of the share of Saudi Aramco as a going concern with 1.7 million barrels per day. With the huge gas assets and NNPC fiscal onshore and offshore assets and platforms, NNPC could be worth in excess of 50 trillion naira, of which the federal government could sell 40% in the stock market or private placement, he stated. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA), Dr. Bashir Jamo, has said the arrival of Nigerian naval ship NNS Kada will greatly enhance security in the Nigerian maritime domain and commended the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral A.Z. Gambo, for this achievement. Dr. Jamo, who joined the Chief of Naval Staff at the Naval Dockyard in Lagos to witness the arrival of the ship from the United Arab Emirates, commended Nigerian Navy, which he described as a critical partner in actualization of the agency's maritime security mandate. He said the platform would also help in consolidating on the safer passage being recorded for vessels, cargoes and crew members transiting through the Gulf of Guinea, while also fighting oil theft and other maritime related vices within the country's maritime domain. The newly acquired warship arrived at his new home port in Apapa after 56 days voyage and port call to about 5 countries. Tatneft plans to drill oil in Libya by the end of 2022. The Russian oil company's deputy CEO and chief geologist Reinat Afliatunov has revealed. This year, active work is already being done to put fields into pilot commercial operation. The first oil will come before the end of the year, Afliatunov told reporters on the sidelines of a forum on innovative technology in resource development. Tatneft resumed work on geological exploration projects in Libya last October, specifically drilling of an appraisal well near Al Hamada in the Ghadames Basin, which was suspended in February 2011. Russia is said to agree to OPEC and its allies compensating for its drop in oil output because of sanctions, Reuters reports, citing an OPEC Plus source. Any compensation could be approved gradually, and there is no guarantee that it will be approved in full later in the day, the source said. Russia is currently producing roughly 1 million barrels per day below its quota. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has disbursed a total of 106.39 billion naira to rice farmers under the Paddy Aggregation Scheme. This was disclosed by the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele in a statement. He said, under the Paddy Aggregation Scheme, 6.2 billion naira was disbursed by the bank to 3 new projects for the purchase and mopping up of homegrown rice paddy. This brings the total funds disbursed to 42 integrated rice millers under the Paddy Aggregation Scheme (PAS) to 106.39 billion naira. The PAS was designed for integrated rice millers and large-scale aggregators to enable them purchase homegrown rice paddy at a single-digit interest rate to promote the federal government's National Food Security Program. Before we end the news, here's a recap of our headlines. FEC okays NNPC ECOWAS Pact on Nigeria-Morocco gas project. Don't borrow 4 trillion naira for subsidy. Sell part of NNPC. Stakeholders urge federal government. Nigerian Navy will strengthen maritime security architecture. JAMO. And that's the news. I am Naomi Oleribe. Good evening.